Dear students, today's topic is India, size and location. It's the first chapter of geography, and in this chapter we are going to know the size, location, its trading of India, its importance in the why the location in the Indian Ocean. So first of all, we are going to study the location of India. India lies to the north of equator and it lies to the east of the prime meridian. So because of that, India lies in northern and the eastern hemisphere. Its mainland extends between latitude 8 degree 4 minute north and 37 degree 6 minute north. And if we measure it from the Andaman and Nicobar island, the latitude starts from 6 degree 7 minute north. The longitudinal extent of India is from 68 degrees 7 minute east and 97.25 degree east. The Tropic of Cancer, as we know, it is at 23 degree 30 minute north and it divides India into almost two equal parts. So we experience tropical as well as temperate climate because of the Tropic of Cancer, as it is divided India into two equal parts. Now Andaman and Nicobar, they are located in the southeast of the mainland and it is in the Bay of Bengal. Lakshadweep Island, they are situated to the southwest of the mainland and they are located in the Arabian Sea. Now size of India, India's landmass area is 3.28 million square kilometer and we stand 7th in the ranking according to the size in the world after Russia, Canada, USA, China, Brazil, Australia. We occupy about 2.4% of the total geographical area of the world. Now, India has land boundary of about 15,200 km and the length of its coastline is about 7,516.6 km. And this coastline includes Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep Island. Now, India is bounded by or covered by young fold mountains, as we call them Himalayas. So they are in the northwest, north and northeast of India. It protects India from the cold winds of the Central Asia. Now India's landmass forms a cone shape in the south and it is starting from 22 degree north latitude and it extends toward the Indian Ocean and it is dividing the Indian Ocean into three parts, that is Arabian Sea in the west, Bay of Bengal in the east and Indian Ocean in the south. Now the degree of longitude and latitude, as you have already studied in the previous classes, they are the imaginary lines. So 0 degree longitude, it is a standing line. It is also known as prime meridian and it divides earth into two parts, that is named eastern and western hemisphere. Same way 0 degree latitude, it is a sleeping line and it's the line that is also called equator and it divides earth into two equal hemisphere, that is northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and they are called the pillars. That means latitudes, they are called pillars. I have mentioned and shown you the figure of earth just to remind you. So you just look at the facts about the latitudes and the longitudes. You have already studied them, that the longitudes, they are called meridians. They run in the north-south direction and they farther away from the equator, as we move away from the equator, and they meet at the north and the south pole and they cross the equator at right angles. They lie in planes that pass through the earth's axis and they are equal in length and they are half of the great circle. That means they are dividing half part of the circles. Now latitudes, they are all called pillars. They run in the east-west direction. Measurement of the distance from north to south, we measure it from the equator. We move from equator towards the north and south pole and they cross the prime meridians at the right angles. They lie in the planes that cross the earth's axis at the right angles and they get shorter towards the pole. That means the circumference is shorter towards the pole, with only to the equator. The longest circle is at the equator. Now, the latitude as well as the longitudinal extent of India's mainland is about 30 degree both ways, almost 30 degrees. It is not approximately 30, but it is almost 30 degree. As we know that north-south distance is of 3214 kilometer and east-west distance is 2933 kilometers. So they are almost 30 degree is being covered by both the sides. Now, significance, or what is the importance of the latitudinal extent of India? The extent, that means the latitude extent of India, it helps to determine the approximate time zones in a country. Whichever country it is, it helps to determine the time zone in a country where they lie. So India is located in the northern hemisphere, and due to it, its latitudinal position is a mainly tropical country. And as we move towards from south to north, the latitudinal extent of India influences the duration of day and night. That means when we are near equator in the south and we are moving away from equator in the north, so it affects the duration of day and night, and that is being explained in the next question, why there is a duration of day and night more felt at Kashmir than Kanyakumari. Now, longitudinal extent of India, what is its implication or what's its significance? Now, longitudinal extent of India, it is from 68 degrees 7 minute to 97 degree 5 minute east. Earth rotates from west to east, and so the sun appears to move from east to west. So there is a time difference of 1 hour for every 15 degree of the longitudinal differences. So because of that, there is a local time difference of almost 2 hours between extreme eastern part of India and the western part of India. So that is why we have selected 82 degree 30 minute east as our standard meridian. So why we have selected it as our standard meridian? So there is a time lag of almost 2 hours between Arunachal Pradesh in the east and Gujarat in the west. So the standard time meridian, it is a longitudinal line, imaginary line that passes through the country in an area that we use as a standard of time for the country. And for India, it is at 82 degree 30 minute east, and it passes through the Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh, and we have taken it as our standard time for the whole country. Why we have taken it? Because if we had not taken this, so as we know that there is a difference between Arunachal Pradesh and Gujarat, 2 hours difference is there. Sun rises earlier in Arunachal Pradesh and it rises 2 hours later in Gujarat. So to cover up the differences, we have considered only one single variation, that is moving from Mirzapur. So otherwise different regions of India would have different time and it would have created problem. We could not work properly, as most of our work is nowadays being done digitally. So we should have one common standard of time for the whole country. So we have selected standard meridian of India as 82 degree 30 minute east as standard time, and it is also called Indian Standard Time. Now there is a picture of the map of India. Here it is showing the kilometer east-west land mass. Degrees are being mentioned and you have to draw it in your notebook. Now, why there is a difference between day and night duration? Hardly felt at Kanyakumari, but not so in Kashmir. So as we know, we have earlier mentioned that the circle of illumination of the earth, it varies from summer to winter because of the axis rotation of the earth is tilted at 23.5 degree to the perpendicular, and at equator it does not cause any time difference between day and night throughout the year because sun rays are falling direct directly on the equator, but as we move towards north or south, that means north pole or south pole, the duration vary as the sun rays are direct at the equator as compared to the poles. So as Kanyakumari is close to the equator and Kashmir is away from equator, so the difference is felt in Kashmir in winter or summer, but not at Kanyakumari. So that is the why there is a variation in any area. If a area is near equator, the duration is hardly felt, but if that area is moving away, that is away from, as we move away from equator, the variation is being felt. Now India and the world. So in this, India has a central location between East and West Asia. We are in the center portion. So it's southern extent of the continent of Asia. So what is its strategic importance? So what is the importance of being located in the center? So the trans-Indian ocean routes, they provide a strategic central location to India, as these routes, they connect us with Europe in the west and Asian countries in the east. Now Deccan Peninsular extent, that is our coastline into the Indian Ocean, that is a long coastline, and it helps India to establish close contact with West Asia, Africa and Europe from the western coast, and Southeast and East Asian countries in the east from the eastern coast. So we are working from the western and the eastern coasts linked with the different countries of the world. Now after the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, the distance from Europe has been reduced by 7,000 kilometers. And as no country has such a long coastline, we as located in the Indian Ocean, India has an eminent position in the Indian Ocean, and that is why the naming of the Indian Ocean is after it. Now there is a map. It shows the trade and commerce of India through air routes and sea routes. They are being mentioned, so you just draw them in your notebooks. Now India's contacts with the world. Though the land routes are much older than its maritime contacts, that means we were trading with other countries through land routes, not maritime, that means not the coastal areas. We are trading from coastal areas much later on. The various passes that are across the mountains in the north, they have provided passages to the ancient travelers. That means we were trading from the land routes. One of them was the Silk Route. Now these routes, that means land routes, they have contributed to the exchange of ideas and commodities between India and rest of the world. We can understand this concept by this, that ideas of Upanishads, Ramayana, stories of Panchatantra, our numerical and decimal system, it has reached the various parts of the countries. Spices, muslin and other trading materials, they were taken from India to different countries, and in India also we can figure out the influence of Greek sculpture, architectural styles of domes and minarets from the West Asian countries, that means Muslim countries. It could be seen in various geographical architectural buildings of India. Now India's neighbors. So India has an important strategic position in the South Asia. We are having 28 states and 9 union territories. Now you have to write down those states' name and the union territories. India shares its land boundary with Pakistan and Afghanistan in the north, west, China, that is Tibet, not China, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan in north, and Myanmar, Bangladesh in the east. 2 island countries are there in the south. They are Sri Lanka and Maldives. Across the Indian Ocean, so all these countries are part of Indian subcontinent. India, Sri Lanka, they are separated by a narrow channel of sea that is formed by Pak Strait and Gulf of Mannar. Maldives lies to the south of Lakshadweep, and the southernmost point of Indian Union was previously it was Indira Point. Now it has submerged in because of the Indian Ocean because of the tsunami in the year 2004. Now Kanyakumari is the southernmost tip of India. Now this chapter is complete. You have to do the work in your notebook. You can also solve the question answers that are written at the back of your chapter.